So hey guys, it's Dr. Klein. We went over supine decompression breathing last week. This week we're going to be working on what we call prone. Now the whole point of the supine was to get the back flat. You're trying to lengthen the spine. We're doing the anchoring where we're opening up the tailbone, increasing the length of the spine to really all train us for standing. So at the end of every workout, we always did a little 10-15 minute workout of standing, trying to incorporate a little bit of hinging, but first we need the decompression working for us. So there's two things to really think about, the length, but also the engagement. So let's think about that engagement first with the diaphragm. Sometimes just getting in a tabletop position can help you feel this, get us ready for what we're going to be doing in the prone. Then think about taking right where my diaphragm is, and I'm just kind of, even without breathing, just try and get a big breath in, let all the air out, push it all the way out, and then just suck that diaphragm in, almost like you're rounding a little bit. Really engaging. It should hit a point where you start to shake a little bit, just like you're sucking that in. I always say, think about like Arnold. He's sucking all that in, drawing really in. You're trying to spread the ribs, open up this space. We're going to time it with breathing. So on the inhale, we're not letting the belly out. We're actually drawing it in the same way. Then we're teaching our rib cage muscles and our spine to hold that expansion as we exhale. So we're not letting the belly out on the exhale either. So you're getting a lot done in a little bit of time. So it's very shaky. You're not going to feel like you can get a full breath in because you're just pushing up against so much garbage. 360 degrees wide, tall, and those muscles are going to be trained to work. We're overtraining the breathing, so when you actually do start to breathe unconsciously, your body will have a better pathway to breathe from. You won't have as much junk in the way, and your muscles will be activated where your brain is talking to those muscles and actually want to work better. They won't be so inhibited. So let's take this into a prone position. Prone just means on your stomach. So what we'll start with here is we're just pulling that belly really in tight. You can have your knees a little bit far apart and you're still getting that squeeze. Squeezing the thighs towards each other. Same thing, you're trying to bring that belly up off the mat, off the ground. What we like to do with the hands is just put them here for now. Just think about pulling that belly up, a little bit of glute squeeze, drawing that away from the ground. Again, this should be kind of shaky. Each breath, pulling that belly up off the ground, and try not to let the belly touch the ground again. This is what we call the hip hugger position. Elbows are squeezing towards each other, just as the thighs are squeezing towards each other. Another position we'll run through is with the fingers palming, just like that. Again, just drawing that belly up off the ground. Fingertips clawing the ground. Feet are tucked in. Also, clawing the ground. We're just going to lift our head without extending from the back. So first, get that belly up off the ground. Thighs are staying down. You don't want to be lifting the butt either. It's just enough. They're actively, you're pulling those ASISs off the ground. That's the tip of your pelvis, the very front bone. Head's lifting. You're going to feel a lot in your neck in these positions. Should be good. Lifting the skull, driving up without going too much like a cobra. We don't want to do that. We want to keep that belly tight and lift. And really just these two positions, you can get a lot done. Once you get good with it and fluid with it, you can start adding more motion. We can do a trace, so the thumbs, palms facing up. And we can trace overhead. Pulling that belly off the ground. And again, timing it with your breathing. Up and down. Another thing we can do is the 8-point plank. It's the hardest of the moves. I'm throwing a lot at you now, just give me a little tutorial of what we'll go over. Elbows a little higher then your shoulders, a little more out in front of the shoulders. And you're going to squeeze with your legs. And before we think about lifting the low back, let's get the head up nice and tall. So kind of the opposite now. We're getting that neck nice and tall, that belly in tight, and then squeeze the ground. So you're almost like squeezing the ground away versus just lifting the butt. Where you see it, I did more like a seesaw, my head went down. Here I'm trying to squeeze where my neck doesn't go down. Really great for the spine. Just gonna open everything up. Each breath should be shaky, almost like that tabletop position. Pulling that belly away from the ground. Really good. So really quick, we're gonna take those principles and apply it to standing. Lift that up a hair. Everything the ground just taught us, same as with supine, was to engage, right? Get that belly in. And then lengthen the spine, not with our shoulders, but the hips pulling down, anchoring, we call it. Spine, the head lifting, the head's lifting. Your shoulders are actually pulling down, and it helps to pull them down actually. We're going to take those same principles into the founder. So what makes the founder really good is not just, dropping into it like you're sitting on a chair, but actually hinging, decompression, then hinging into it. So getting up nice and tall, chest is expanded, but also the mid-back is expanded, space in between the shoulder blades. Open up, pride apart. Just go here in the long wing, measuring sticks, long wing. Try to do that without your shoulder blades caving in at all. Don't let those shoulder blades retract. Once you feel like you got it good, that should be really shaky and tough right there. 2 bowls of water, lift them up as you hinge. So bring the hips back, belly really drawing in. Sucking that belly in, and then sink even deeper. And now that we did one slow, let's time it fast. Measuring sticks big and tall, neck long, long wing. And we're just gonna drop right into that founder. On the exhale, inhale tall. Exhale, inhale tall. Let's try this with the platter. A little more lat. You could take that initial hip hugger position we did before. And then same with the woodpecker. Right foot forward, left foot back. Same, the biggest mistakes we saw this week was where you arch into it. We lock the back leg out, and our spine arches. And that's a tough position because your balance is being challenged. So watch me from the side. I'm really going to take that tabletop position. Sucking that belly in. This is the whole point of the measuring sticks hands, is to remind you, tuck that in, maybe even put a little extra weight on the back foot. Here you can add a little bit of glute squeeze, a little bit of a skull lift. That'll center you a little bit better than being here. You want to get that ear shoulder stacked. Nice and tall. Breathe a few times, feel that engagement. It's almost like you're trying to push your back heel down. The front foot is pushing that other heel towards you. And then when we hinge over top, sometimes helps me to just reach back so I feel all that tension. And we didn't lose anything, right? So let's try that a few times. Try it without the chop. You could even go into long wing. Little bend in the knee. Neither should be locking out. Get that belly tall every time. Suck the belly back in. Do your best not to let it out. We'll add a little rotation. And here's where the money is. Bring it over top. With the hips. That's one of the hardest things to learn. Really drawing that belly in. Let's put it on the left, different angle. Go this way. Suck that belly in. I'm gonna put maybe even 60% of my weight on the back foot. Both feet are pushing the ground away. That's what scissoring is. You're squeezing, getting tall, getting that hip underneath you. One little check, maybe even go here. Pretend to push that away from right here. You're sucking in, just like before, you're pushing the ground away. Got an imaginary wall you're pushing into. You should start to feel that shake, all that fascia separating in your mid-back. Then you're set up to hinge. But let's go back to the long wing for that. And then we'll rotate. Bring the left hand up to the right. Breathe, bring it tall. Use your little hips, your feet pushing the ground away to bring you back up. Not hyperextending your back to do it. Again, that was a lot, but we'll spend all week going over the prone and seeing what laying face down on the ground can teach us about standing, because it's all about getting better breaths, getting better at bending, and then working on torsional forces. So we have all those rotational imbalances. So add just a little bit at the end to show you attacking left to right, but first we have to train the spine to elongate. A lot of us are attacking rotational imbalances first instead of third. Got to go back to the basics. Breathing, how to even bend better. Then once we have those mechanics, then we can apply just subtle rotational corrections isolated to the hips and shoulders to really help and not harm the body. Because otherwise that rotation is going to come from the spine, the flexion, the bending is going to happen at the spine instead of at the hips. So we have to overtrain it, unfortunately, to get it where we want it and need it to make the correction. Make the correction last, take pressure off the nervous system, and that'll stop the degenerative processes in our spines. So come to one of the classes. They're on Sundays now as well. We're getting rid of the Tuesday because nobody liked it. You don't like it, no one shows up, it's going away. So we have 4 class times now. If you want to continue to see them, show me your smiling face. Remember to call the office if you want to sign up, because there is limited space.